Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, Redux version, normal difficulty. I'm your host, Colors Fade. It's episode 56. We are here in Illusionera, in the lower city. The Soul Hunter is over here, and I want to go take a look at what this thing is doing, because it's on the top of a building, and I haven't quite figured out how to get there. So that's what we're going to do with this party. And this is a fairly interesting situation I find myself in. This is one of the very few videos where a key must have been pressed or something, and my commentary did not record. So we get to do one of those rare videos where you get the after commentary, which should be pretty fun. Pretty unusual, I should say. So this whole episode is pretty one-dimensional. There's really only one thing that's going to happen on the whole deal. I'm going to go talk to the beggar, and this is where you can hear the ting, and we're like, oh, there's a trap or hidden object somewhere, and it turns out there's this trap way up on the top of this house, on top of this building, which causes me to notice that there's no obvious way up there. How would you get to that trap? Well, this is when I start to wonder about Dimension Door as being a possible solution for how to get around certain portions of the lower city right here. Dimension Door is something I've not had a lot of luck using in the game. There were a lot of people who said you could use Dimension Door in Blackwater, for instance, and I never had any luck using it there. To hop across the doors, and in fact you don't need to, as you saw when we ran through Blackwater a few episodes ago. There are enough devices and everything that you can get through all the doors. A group of dirty beggars in tattered clothes have gathered around a handsome young man with messy dark hair. The crowd is clearly hostile, but he doesn't seem to notice. He gives the beggars a charming smile, completely oblivious to the sharp shivs glinting in their hands. Geocod is his name, and the young man has a glove puppet on his hand, a dragon made of rags with buttons for eyes. He raises it up and begins to ventriloquize in a surprisingly deep voice. Hey, you lousy parasites, who's in charge here? The young man lowers his puppet and beams cheerfully. He addresses the crowd normally, in a warm, friendly voice. I would like to invite your leader to a romantic dinner with candles. I'll pay for everything, of course. I am not going to interfere in this decision, so the beggars whisper among themselves. You manage to catch a few snippets of their conversation. He's crazy. Leave him be. What if he bites you? Before the crowd disperses, the young man jots something down in his notebook. And so Geocot then takes off. On his way, he is a curious little character that we see through this portion of the game over and over and over. So here I am thinking, I get up there. Of course, there's some hidden loot over here, but none of the loot is spectacular. It's one of my beefs with the game. Of course, there's that thing that we killed on the way out of the tavern. We had that little fight last episode. But at any rate, it's like, how the heck do I get up there? Well, probably the single best way to do it is going to be with Dimension Door. So as I was saying, I was not having a lot of luck with Dimension Door. Blackwater. That's just so odd, because that's one of those places where people are like, oh yeah, just use it to jump over the doors. But you know what? I tried it, and I tried it, and I tried it. And you can get the okay from the icon saying, yes, this is a safe place to jump to. But it still wouldn't actually physically work for me. I'd press the button and nothing would happen. So here I am trying to figure out what my party's going to do. And anyway, there is a character over here, and since I can't figure out how to get on the roof, I decided to do this. So I was wrong. There's actually two parts to this episode. There's this, and then what's going to happen when I finally use Dimension Door. So here we go with Zara. The sound of your footsteps startles the demon, and she gives you a baleful look. You have disturbed me, mortal. Why have you broken my solitude? On second thought, save your answers. Your reasons do not interest me. A boy of about 12 stands next to her. The boy examines his wrists, which are covered in strange round scars that look like they may have come from suction cups. His inflamed skin, burning eyes, and general appearance suggest that the demon blood runs through his veins. He lifts his gaze and gives you a long, sad look. Who is this boy? The demon gives an arrogant snort. Zorges is my son, the best of my offspring. He is helpful and obedient, which is the only reason I condescend to take care of this wretched creature. Are you all right, kid? The boy flinches as you speak to him. He looks at you with amazement, perhaps even fear. Then his eyes dart to the demon. Mother, may I speak to him? The demon's voice holds suspicion and anger. Don't speak to the boy. What do you want with him? Are you plotting to steal him away? Be warned. If you lay a finger on him, you will regret it. I will not let you torture this boy. Oh no. What? No. Anyway, there's the option that I chose. What would I want? In the depths, nobody knows this word, want. I wasn't taught it on the surface either. I know how to obey, dive, be quiet. But I don't know how to want. What can I want? Stop addressing my property, worm, or I'll pour the waters of Ishiyar down your throat, and let the ocean's tiny mollusks devour you from the inside and turn you into their shell. What are you doing to your son? Tell me the truth. The demon frowns haughtily. Do you truly think I will answer you, worm? Mother tells me to dive deep, to places where moonlight never reaches. Down there, The boy stops, his words drowned out by the demon's angry hissing. Sorry, Mother. Won't say anymore. Champion, how could we allow this child to remain in the hands of this cruel creature? Normally, I would say we have no right to deprive a child of their parents' love, but these creatures do not know love. Oh, hand of the Inheritor. I will not let you torture this boy. The demon looks you over and the confidence in her eyes fades. She shrugs. You want to take the boy? I don't care. He's yours. I don't fight over a trifle like the life of some mortal spawn, especially since it's nearly exhausted its usefulness. Take him and do as you want with him. So there's some experience points for that. Zorgius, the boy you saved from his wicked mother, gives you a look that is both sad and mature beyond his years. I sense a certain darkness within this youth, hiding deep inside. Yet he himself is not evil. His soul is pure and kind, as a child's soul should be. The boy is silent and focused, as if he too heard the voice of the hand, and he suddenly responds. Does this spirit speak the truth? Is there really darkness inside me? And how can I carry evil in me, yet not be evil? His gaze pierces you as if he wants to say something else, but reconsiders at the last moment. Ember gives the boy a broad smile. It's all right to be different. I'm different too. The commander has lots of odd friends. Do you want to be friends? Zorges shrugs slightly. I think so. I don't know how, but I'll try. What do I need to do? Nothing. We are now friends. You don't have to do anything to be friends. You just have to want to be friends. Can you hear the hand of the Inheritor? Yes. He glows, and he is not evil. I think I like him, but I feel there is an irreconcilable conflict between us. It's unfortunate. The hand of the Inheritor says, so this child can hear and see me. He is not evil, nor is he a sorcerer, a mage, or a wizard. He wields no spells that could reveal the unseen and carries no such spells cast by someone else. He just sees. What powers does this youth possess? Who are you? I am Zorgius. I am a creature of my mother's making, and until recently, I was her creature in every way. I had many brothers and sisters, but none survived her research, so I was the only one left. Now that my mother is gone, I don't know who I am. I am Zorgius, but that name means nothing. It was whispered into my mother's ear by Ishiyar, so who am I? Tell me about your mother. This one made me laugh because it reminded me of Blade Runner. Tell me a little bit about your mother. Her name is Zara the Grim. She used to be a pauper, a diver who collected what Ishiar had taken. The ocean has no floor, so she recovered whatever hadn't sunk too deep. But those bounties were as generous as Ishiar's harsh. No one knows the ocean as well as she did. She knows the safe passages, and she guides ships swimming at half speed so they don't fall behind. Well, she just sounds wonderful, doesn't she? She's a child of Ishiar. She was created in it. Her first cry burst from her lips the moment she broke the surface, but many centuries have passed since her incarnation. She is dark like Ishiar, cruel like Ishiar, powerful and uncompromising like Ishiar, fertile and merciless towards her children like Ishiar. What magical experiments did Zara perform on you? I'm too young and I don't know enough to judge them. We'd go to the shore, to Ishiar. She'd feed me potions, then force me to dive deeper and deeper each time. By the time I was 8, I could dive so deep that water pressed on me from all sides and my body no longer wanted to ascend. I had to stay there as long as I could. Then I'd come up, my nose bleeding, sometimes my mouth and ears as well, even my eyes. The next day, Mother would make me drink a different potion, then send me down again. It was so dark down there. I could feel the touches of strange, dark things. Sometimes their vibrations reached me as if they were communicating with me. On those days, I vomited black slime. I tried to hear their voices, but I never had enough time. Mother would be furious, beat me, brew a new potion, and make me dive deeper, stay longer. The last time I spent 7 hours in the water. There were so many vibrations that enveloped me. I then realized I am neither food nor an enemy, though I have the blood of the enemy in my veins. What does it mean? I don't understand. It was a little boring, so I imagined I was a giant octopus floating in the deep waiting for prey. I'm afraid no one else will tell you more about me because you angered my mother, and she is vindictive. So what are you going to do now, boy? I'd rather not go home, and I have nowhere else to go. What do they do, those who have nowhere to go? I don't know. Maybe I should live in Ishiar. Champion, we have no right to leave him here by himself. He needs care, and fate has entrusted you with this child. I have faith that you will make the right choice. You will find refuge at my camp in the Nexus if you so choose. So we send the boy off. He nods solemnly. Thank you for not deciding for me, but granting me the right to choose. Others have not done this, and so I will accept your invitation. And off goes the boy. The little one is now safe in our care. Neither his cruel mother nor a remorseless kidnapper will cause him further harm. I'm glad we share a belief that children should not be victims of such evil. I'm certain young Georges will be better off on Galaria. And so that concludes that little chapter of the adventure here, Georges, and I have no idea if we see him later in the episode or not in the game. I can't remember, but he seems like a character that you would run into again. So we come back down this way, do a little dance, move our characters around. But the big thing is to try to get up here. Yep. So I think is this where I end up doing it? Yeah, right up here. So this is a lot of fun. And there's another piece of hidden loot. The lock. Yeah, and so they say right there, living in illusion area sucks if you can't fly or move around using magic. And of course, there's the Soul Eater that we had ran into earlier. And so this is where I finally get wise. And I start looking and considering, does anybody have it? It's a level 4 spell dimension door. Nobody had actually had it. We had a scroll that we got that we picked up in Blackwater, and I hadn't memorized it yet. So I had paused the game, and I had made her memorize it. But of course, her memorizing it, then she has to rest so that she can use the spell. And I decided to get rid of it. she's got that. So then this leads on another adventure to the Bad Luck Tavern. So this is very interesting. The Bad Luck Tavern is a place that you can rest, and in all of my previous forays into the game, I had never rested in the tavern because I had heard that bad things happen to you when you go to rest in the tavern. But I thought, you know what, it's so convenient this time. Instead of just going back to the Nexus, why don't we just rest there? So I saved the game here, which is really useful. I thought maybe you could just camp, but you can't. You actually have to buy a bed. So I was like, sure, it's 1,000 gold coins to sleep. And I thought we would just rest, right? And then we'd be interrupted. No, you picked a terrible place for a night's rest, outsider. Now we'll gut you and help yourselves to our things. So this is really interesting. It starts a fight where you don't actually have any of your stuff. And that was the first time looking around, and I'm like, wait, what? So there's 3 enemies. There's the Babao and 2 guys. And I'm like, look, I'm looking there. I'm like, where's my weapons? So then I finally get wise here. Open up my inventory to take a look. And first, of course, your party's not there. So it's you and your skeletal executioner. Thank goodness I had that as a pet. And I look, and you can see everything is stripped from you. Now, you're not allowed to don your equipment, but you can give yourself weapons and anything in your 5 fast quick slots. So obviously I want to go down here and I want to get this bone skeletal finger because it allows me to cast 3 times per day to quicken a spell, and the first thing I want to do is quicken a mirror image. And then I'm also looking at it, I'm like, wait a minute, I can't put anything on, but I can use my weapons. I can put my weapons on because those slots are not locked. So here comes the shock kukri. And then I'm over here. I'm putting them in slot 2 and not changing. I still don't have weapons in my hands yet. Oh, too funny. I wonder how many episodes that carried for. Yeah. So here's the skeletal guy. You can see him. He's basically wielding the wrong weapon. I'm looking and I'm like, what am I doing? It looks like I'm punching with my fists here. Let's move back here. I figure the smart thing to do is probably to summon some help because right now it's 3 on 2. And I'm looking to see what they're potentially immune to. Which isn't much. Not those guys. They got a little immunity to cold, electricity, and fire. It's not a huge, big old deal for that bandit. The Babao is a different story. He's immune to all kinds of stuff, and you need good or cold iron to torch him, so that's what I'm thinking as we're rolling through this. I'm thinking Cloud Kill because I might want to reduce all their constitution damage. The constitution damage would lower their hit points and make them easier to kill, but then I'm also thinking, oh, it might be better just to summon some monsters so I can have some time to buff myself, because I'm assuming at this point in time that I'm going to have to fight this whole entire encounter by myself. So if I'm going to have to fight by myself, I'd rather summon something. And then I'm looking at the skeletal executioner, and I'm just trying to see if he has any abilities that would help here. Cleave's not really going to help. And this is what I'm noticing. Oh, what weapon are you using? Why are you using that? Banshee's Heart? No. You got better weapons. Touch of Mercy and the Deadly Toll are +4. And that's a bleed falchion with a wide crit range. So I switch him over to that. And of course, they're going to enervation him in negative. I love it. Skeletal Executioner is immune to enervation. Here comes my summons. That's nice. I'm still not noticing that my character's not actually wielding weapons because I put them in slot 2. Oh, the whole thing has me really confused. I did not anticipate this happening when I was resting. I just thought it'd be a party-based rest and we'd get interrupted like you do when you're party-based resting out in the world. Right? But instead, nope. So here I am trying to say, okay, give me some more Oh, and that's why it had been a quick spell, so I'd used a quick spell to summon that. Skills, and then your party magically shows up, which is pretty cool. So now we're gonna get some spells. Haste some people and the bows and you get killed and all this stuff. And that's when I get done with this and I'm looking at it. It's not a lot of experience points. It's 120 experience points for killing the bow eliminator.
I am never wrong.
And that's the thing. Her dimension door was not memorized. This doesn't actually count as a rest. So I'm looking at it from that standpoint. It doesn't actually count as a rest. And since it doesn't count as a rest, none of the spells got memorized. And I have to figure out all the clothing that I was wearing all over again, which just seemed insane to me. So I just reloaded the save. But I left that in the episode because I wanted people to see what actually happens. Because if you were like me and you read it somewhere, you just ignored sleeping here. Because you had heard that you always get attacked. Well, it's worse than always getting attacked. It's always getting attacked and in a specific way, in the strip you of your gear way, and not give you your teammates. And I don't want to belabor this point because I've ranted about this before in other games, but I am not the fan of the role-playing games that do that to you, that take your gear away and take your companions away, like the classic jail quest. So anyway, that's kind of my thing. Is I'm not a big fan of that. Here's the Hand of the Inheritor talking about his true form, but in Lucianir, I will remain hidden. So I'm just going through here and checking some of his dialogue about next steps and stuff like that. But anyway, like every single role-playing game that I've ever played, like, and Skyrim, classic example. I'm trying to think of others, but it's just so prevalent in role-playing games that The Witcher 3 and other games, they always have to put the quest in the game where you get thrown in jail, lose all your gear, and lose all your companions. And I don't really understand why role-playing game developers are so enamored with that particular trope, because I hate it. So this is funny. The Herald senses that one of the commander's companions requires help. So I wasn't paying attention to the title of that particular quest. I just paid attention to the part where it says the Hand of the Inheritor says that one of your friends needs attention, basically. And it said Greybor, and I'm like, okay, where is he? And I come up here and I'm looking for Greybor, and I can't find him. And I go straight to the Hand of the Inheritor, and I'm looking here for a line of dialogue that says something about a friend in need, because that's what the journal the overlay just told me. That little dialogue that popped up at the top said, the Hand of the Inheritor is worried about one of their champion's friends. But there's no line of dialogue here. So I just leave, and I go check the journal, and it says, the Herald senses that one of the commander's companions requires help. The commander must go to the Nexus to find out what is happening. Like, I feel like a squirrel or a hamster running around in a circle right about now. It's a conversation with Greybor. Thankfully, the title kind of gave it away. So then the next thing becomes, okay, where the heck is Greybor at? So this was just one of those places in the game where I feel like they could have done a lot better job. Like, if you're going to say the Herald senses that one of the commander's companions requires help, then what am I going to do as a player? I'm going to go to the Hand of the Inheritor. It would have been nice if he'd had a piece of dialogue that says, I sense your friend Greybor needs your help. Or something, you know. Otherwise, I feel like so he's not here, clearly, so that must mean he's in the cave, which is where I just was. So I feel like the game's not helping you here. It's actually making you do a whole bunch of walking around on purpose. It's just being frustrated on purpose. It's like, instead of telling me that the hand of the Inheritor senses a friend is in need, why didn't it just say, check your journal for where to go on this quest? Give me a line of dialogue with the hand of the Inheritor. That would have been nice. So here's Greybor. We're going to see what little piece of business he has. I'm just beside myself because I had to do this all over again. Interesting news has reached my ears. There's been talk among the more disreputable citizens of Lucianir that someone is hiring the most vicious thugs and cutthroats to kill a certain Willidus. A familiar name, isn't it? I strongly suspect that this is the same Willidus who set me up during the assassination of Darazan. I'd call that a fortuitous coincidence. Okay. So, Willidus, which means we have to go deal with this Willidus person. And, Greybor is going to have to come into our party to do this, so I'll be damned if I let a bunch of incompetent thugs get to him before me. No. First, I must have a little chat with Willidus, and then they can do whatever they want with him. How about we leave those hapless goons in the dust and visit Willidus's mansion first? Sounds like an exciting challenge, doesn't it? Very well. Pay him a visit. Excellent. So, we have to deal with that later, not right now. The most important thing to do right now is... and this is cool. The journal tells you where it is, actually, in the upper city in the House of Wicked Knowledge. That I found that so surprising that it did that, because it seemed to me that the game doesn't do that very often. They just give you such clear instruction on where to go next. And I was like, wow. It said not only the upper city, but it told you what the name of the place was? Wow. Could the whole game be like this? That was really cool. Like, I don't need a quest marker, but telling me where it is, that's pretty cool. That's the minimum that can be done. That's the Elder Scrolls Daggerfall level of doing things. So, my whole point in doing all of this, resting inside the tavern and then finding out that that didn't work, and then going out and resting in the Nexus and talking to Greybor and all, it was all so I could come back here and buff and have access to Dimension Doors. That's the most important thing. Because what I wanted to do was go out and potentially deal with this thing out here, the Shadow Demon. I wasn't exactly sure if it was going to turn hostile or not when I went up to the top of the roof. And I wanted to try Dimension Door, and I wanted to try to get through that trap. The bigger issue was I also wanted to see if Dimension Door would work to traverse this part of the city, because as I said earlier, I've had some misfortune using it. And Blackwater is a perfect example of a place where it just didn't really work for me. So, save the game right here. And Dimension Door's right up there. We're going to pop the group version of it. Mass Dimension Door. You can see the icons legit there. Here we all go. We get up here. And surprisingly, everybody arrived, which is really nice. You feel like this is one of those Star Trek teleporters that may or may not work because maybe the ship isn't up to snuff yet. So, first thing I wanted to do was just come check this. There's 2 traps, which made me think, oh my gosh, if there's 2 traps, maybe this chest over here has something really cool in it instead of just weeds. Weeds and generic loot. And what does it have? Weeds and generic loot and a scroll of Resist Sonic. Shh, don't tell anybody about the secret loot. And then I thought, well, he's green and he's got a speech icon, so we can talk to him, yeah? Oh yeah, except for the building just blocked me off there, so. Get me over here. Oh, and just clicking on him starts a battle. So here I am, not 100% prepped for this guy, which was a bad idea. Glory, I'll make you a powerful and dead servant out of you, it says. So apparently he didn't want to be interrupted. The soul hunter, I called it a shadow demon. It's not a shadow demon. It's a soul hunter, which is, he's very, very powerful. I was pretty darn surprised at how powerful he was. In fact, we're going to see some of his stats here in a little bit. He's got this right off the bat. Circle of Death. So, snuffs out the life force of living creatures. Slays 1d4 hit dice worth of living creatures per caster level. 20d4. Those who are closest to the burst point of origin are affected first. All creatures with 9 or less hit dice are slain outright. While creatures with more than 9 hit dice take 100 damage instead. So, Soul Hunter deals 80 damage to Princess. But the rest of us, saving throws succeeded, so that was nice. Time when saving throws actually saved all of our lives, which I was pretty happy for, I gotta say. And then divine power, and I'm sitting here trying to figure out what to do because I was not fully buffed for this encounter. I was not. So here, yeah, I'm like skeletal finger. Well, I should probably make sure I have. What can I do to this guy? And that's, so here's the thing. You could see he's got a 19 initiative, but that's not what I'm really. His touch AC is 27. His regular AC is 56. And of course, he's got all kinds of resistances to fire, acid, electricity, all that kind of stuff. But the big thing was his AC. His touch AC is half, which is immediately I'm recognizing that as that's got to be the weakness. That's got to be what we attack. So, I mean, the only person on the team who probably has a chance to hit that 56 AC is Della. And to do that, I got to make sure she's going to be fully buffed with, you know, greater heroism and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to get her in there, but everybody else is going to have to use touch AC stuff, and that's where Firebrand is going to come into play, which is just really, really cool spell because everybody gets one shot of it. Bone Explosion I didn't want to try and do. I looked at it briefly for a split second. Feast of Blood, it's Exsanguinate. Target receives 1d6 damage per caster level. It makes a fortitude save, and here's the thing, if it fails the fortitude save, it still takes strength damage. So I was thinking that's at least worthwhile because even if it does fail the save and doesn't take all the damage, it'll still get some strength damage. So at this point in time, I'm just looking for anything that's going to help. I was also briefly thinking about just start summoning a bunch of monsters, but I'm not sure they would have a chance to hit it. We still have to be able to hit it to kill it. So lots of things going through my mind right here. I got Greater Heroism cast on Della immediately because I used the Skeletal Finger. Ember fails to overcome its spell resistance, and she flat out misses. You can see her rolls there. So it's like, Ember, I need you to hit this thing. So then I'm wondering, what can you do next? Do you want to summon a monster instead? Would that help? It would create fodder for us. So that was kind of the thought process behind that. Adrenair, he's got his rage on, but he has a summon, so I decided to use that one, and Della has a summons. So they've got those special summon abilities. And I managed to do 69 damage to the Soul Hunter when I cast Feast of Blood, so that was cool. That actually got some damage in, which was nice. Unfortunately, he also has the ability to heal himself, so you can see right there in his icon, he's got like, you know, a fourth of it down, his health, but it's going to fill back up here in a second, sadly. So here I go. This is what I'm thinking. Firebrand. Everybody then has the ability to use Firebrand as a spell, as a touch attack. And I'm thinking, man, if everybody can hit with their touch attacks against him, that would be really cool. So, Grown Nabasu. Della uses Tankard of Free Spirit. Summons Liland Zada. Summon Greater Bralania Zada. So that's cool. Adrenair uses the duality of conjuration and summoning. And so we've got a few things summoned here, which is really cool. There's a grown Nabasu that got summoned. Attacks the Soul Hunter with Bite. So it's not on our side, but it is attacking him, which is good. And then there's just Spell Rama. And the summoned Gale Azada is trying to dispel him as a target, so that's good. Dispel magic target. Summon Gale Azada uses ability to dispel magic target. That's nice. Fiora attacks the Soul Hunter with short sword +1. Embercast summon monster. Axiomite or Soul Eater. So yeah. And so here, let's see what oh yeah, I'm moving her spells around just to get everything. It's Spell City here. It's crazy. Drone Nabasu. I'm trying to figure out if I can do 2 different types of damage to him. Or do I have that ability yet? Does that happen after? When did I get my last level? It's all hazy. I had recorded 4 or 5 episodes of Wrath of the Righteous altogether. And fortunately, the voiceover worked on the other ones. I don't know why it didn't work on this one. But it didn't, which is really sad. So I'm coming back at this episode to do the voiceover after progressing quite a ways. But there it is. There's the spell. Firebrand Beam of Fire. 6d6 for a ranged touch attack. And I'm thinking everybody can do it except Adrenair because he's under the rage effect right now. So that doesn't allow him to cast a spell of any kind, even if it's a borrowed spell like that. He can't do it. So that's too bad. So I take his rage off thinking I'll go back to it, and then I promptly forget. But it's cool because we're going to get everybody to cast this spell. He hasn't healed yet. The Soul Hunter hasn't. See, so Ember deals some damage to the Soul Hunter there. A little bit. And I missed with the Firebrand Beam of Fire because I rolled a 3. And then I rolled a 4. Della attacks with the Mighty Blow. And misses with a 4. Ember attacks and misses because she rolls an 11. And we're just rolling really terribly. That's her. That's against its regular armor class. So it's like, and then you can see, look how healed up he is. He went all the way back up to the top. So the quarter points that we had taken down are no longer down, which is a bummer. So it's like, bummer. So now, what I start thinking is, Amber, see if you can fire the fire snake in there. Just roll it in there. He looks really cool, this Soul Eater guy, Soul Hunter. Look at him. He looks badass. He looks like half werewolf, half bat. He's pretty awesome. I have Siphon Life. It works like Vampire Tux. Maximum 10d6, and I'm thinking, well, it's touch attack. Anything that can give me touch attack. And what is... Oh, yeah. And then the other thing is, I'm just thinking purely about bonuses. Like, how many bonuses can I give my whole team so that people have a chance to actually hit something? And Mass, Cat's Grace, Matt's Eagle Splendor, because a couple people use Charisma for things. And it's just trying as much as possible to give bonuses. Because I'm thinking Della is still the person who's going to probably kill this thing. Clearly my plan for ranged touch attack with Firebrand didn't work out that great. So, and you can see I'm hitting him. I did 62 points of damage with that, with Siphon Life. So that brought him down another quarter again, even though he went back up to full. Which is unfortunate. And then Della finally deals 51 points of damage, which was really nice. So it's like, oh, she can hit him. Okay. And of course, there's a bunch of people here. It's just mad. There's grown Nabasu, so it's like Adrenair did 26 points. He hit him with his actual weapon. So I think some enemies cast some spells on him because his AC dropped to 48. So there's Ember dealing 46 points of damage. She overcomes his spell resistance when she casts Fire Snake, and she does 46 points of damage. And at that point in time, I was like, okay, Ember can hit him. So, Ember, another Fire Snake, please. Roll that on in there. Skeletal Executioner did 2 points of Constitution damage on it. So now you can see he's down to about a third of his health. The Soul Hunter is. And at this point in time, I'm thinking for an encounter that I didn't buff for all the way to the gills, that I wasn't prepared for because I didn't think it was going to attack me because it was green and it had a conversation bubble, and I'm thinking, oh, what's it going to say to me? And what it said was, I want to kill you. And we can see her. She's doing good. I'm looking at that number for Della, and I'm just like, okay, she can hit it. And it's way down now. Like, its hit points are really low. Wish I'd have hovered over it so I could have seen exactly how many it had, but getting close. And our party's doing really well. We just got to make sure that everybody's safe. So, Soul Hunter deals 40 damage to the Skeletal Executioner. It attacked with some kind of spell there. I don't know which one it was. I didn't look and see, but Della deals another 52 points of damage. I just need Gelmer. Oh, it did a cold spell. That's right. And I wasn't prepared for that. It was like the one resistance I didn't have up. And there it goes. It dies. The Summoned Gale Azada deals 33 damage to the Soul Hunter, and it actually got the final kill. Della did 51 right before that. So it amazingly killed it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, whoa, this is really awesome. I was just so surprised that this was a fight that was happening. And I wasn't. Here I'm looking at Della deals to the Soul Hunter. So this is cool. Blood Rage Haste, two-handed, the Foul Shard flanking. The one that got me was Mighty Blow of Good. It's +5 enhancement, and I have no idea where that one comes from. No clue. So I wrote that down, and I still haven't looked it up yet on the internet, but I want to know where Mighty Blow of Good comes from, because that's +5 and it's significant. And I'm like, what is that from? Half of the pair is from the necklace I'm wearing. Prayer from allies. That makes sense. Studied target, which we used. Thank goodness. That was another point. I mean, that allows her to roll a 14 with 42 modifiers, and the attack result becomes a 56 and beats the target's armor class of 51. So its armor class got lowered a little bit from its base 56 that it started at. So that was something else. Like I said, Della was really the only one who could hit it. My character will be able to mow it down after Chapter 4. But not until then. That's the only sad thing about taking the Legend Mythic path, is that it really only does anything for... is that you get it so late, you can only do Chapter 5 with it. You don't get to do, like, Chapter 3, 4, 5 with it. I wish Legend Mythic path was something that you could take from early in the game when you get to make a choice, like between, you know, Angel and Azada and Aeon and what I did, which is the Lich path. I wish at that moment in time you could choose Legend instead. You could say, I'm going to forsake all this power right now. The Assailant's Belt is awesome. Belt to Dexterity +6, and then you saw the effect there. That is just, I was right away, I was like, oh, come to daddy. That's my belt. That's for me. +2 circumstance bonus to attack and damage rolls for the next 3 rounds. I was just like, are you kidding me? And it's +6 dex? Come to Papa. I will forgo the little extra bit of constitution for that belt. And that means my belt gets to go over to Fiora, which is fantastic. That belt is just, I'm so happy. So here was the thing that got me so excited. I had never killed that Shadow Hunter before. I had never been able to get up on that building before because I had never tried Dimension Door before, because Dimension Door had never really worked for me in any of my other playthroughs. So it was this chain of events like, should I try Dimension Door? Okay, I'll try it. I tried it. That guy ended up being hostile. I fought him, and I got the most awesome belt I've seen yet for my particular character class. I was so ecstatic at seeing that belt. It blew me away. So for like, I'm sad that the original commentary is gone because I was pretty much off my rocker for several minutes. I was just very, very excited. It's a very cool belt. So if you're playing anything like I'm playing, if you're playing an Eldritch Knight of any kind, a Dex character, that especially one that wields weapons like I am, I strongly suggest coming up here and killing this thing and getting that belt. It's awesome. And now is when the problems are going to begin. Believe it or not, this is pretty much the episode. This is the conclusion of the episode, but then this is where things get funny. So we're going to dimension door down there and get oh no, not everybody wins, and I don't see it yet. This is what's sad. I'm looking at the city and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go over here. Let's go into the tavern. Oh, guess what? We can't go into the tavern. Adronir is still up top. He's dancing. He's break dancing. So this is going to be pain. And there ends up being no real easy way out of this. I try to go up there, dimension door single, and then do dimension door as a group, go back down there. Oh, but I cast single that time by accident. That explains why I didn't go. So, unfortunately, she went down there by herself. That was a shame. I didn't notice that the first time I did it. And then I just thought, maybe if we go into the Bad Luck Tavern, he's close enough, he can just come. Nope, not gonna work. So this is a real shame. That he didn't come when it did Dimension Door mass. And I was starting to get really nervous about how this was going to work. And I was going out to Reddit and I was looking to see if anybody else had run into this problem, and surprisingly I didn't see anybody else that had this problem. So I did this next little bit because I'm running out of casts of Dimension Door. I'm going to try it one more time. I'm trying to do it as far away as I can, and Adronir is still left. You can imagine my frustration at this point. It's like, I was really worried that I was going to have to go back. And so here's what happened. You can see this kind of a fast forward here in the I had to go in here and create a custom formation and cluster everybody super tight together. Now, I have no idea if this clustering, and you can see here how tight the formation is. I have no idea if that's what caused the party to finally all go down there. Obviously, the Triceratops gets left behind. I don't know if that's what caused it to work, but that's what worked for me. Now, to get rid of the Triceratops, of course, we have to go into our inventory. I'm trying to disable it right here, but you can't. So you have to go into your inventory, and you have to remove it off your belt, and that makes the Triceratops go away. So finally then, my whole entire party is down below. If you find yourself stuck with Dimension Door and a character not pulling in with the rest of the group, then that's my suggestion, is to go do that, to try to create a tightly clustered formation and see if that can't fix the problem. So that was all a little bit of frustrating. It was great. It was great to fight the Shadow Demon Hunter, or the Demon Hunter, or whatever he's called, and get that belt. That made me super excited. I really liked that a lot. But the Dimension Door thing was a bit of a panic. So from that point on, then over here we have the gateway to the middle city. Now you can, I've said before, I think you can fight those guys, but and so here we run into Ember being such. You can fight those guys. It's really, really, really super hard to fight them. But anyway, there's some demons here who are picking on another demon, so we end up with Ember in this situation. And she's going to interject. You can see her run ahead. She's got that really funny hat. So she says, "What are you doing? You're hurting him. Stop." Why are you doing this to him? So she's going to go on her little her personal crusade to help the demons. I'm just a mortal, she says, weak and silly. Compared to you, I'm a mayfly. Good word. One moment here, the next time gone. But you better listen to what I tell you, because I've lived more than you have. And my response is, listen to her carefully. This might be the most important thing you hear in your entire lives. Yeah, right. We've always dreamed of listening to what a charred piece of meat has to say. The demon's claw draws close to the girl and looks her over with contempt. What's with all the riddles? What do you mean you've lived more than us? It's very simple, Ember says. I haven't lived very long, but I have friends. Those I can protect. Those who are glad to see me. There are many sad things, but I still know what happiness is. But do you? Beating, biting, fearing, hating each other? Are you really happy? And if you aren't, is this any kind of life? So yeah, I've lived a lot. But you've spent centuries and centuries without really living. Bah! This mortal brat, this lump of meat, is going to preach to us. The demon gives a predatory shift, bends down, and shows off his mouth filled with sharp teeth. You know what makes me happy? Gobbling up tasty pieces of meat like you. Ember looks at him serenely. She reaches out and strokes his horned head with a burned palm. Poor thing. You're so hurt and scared all the time. You feel a bit better for a while when you torture others and forget about your suffering, but... So, the demon recoils from her touch. There is a combination of surprise and terror in his fearsome face, and the demons stand around Ember. Their faces show caution and rapacious interest. It is clear that they are slightly afraid of the strange girl, who shows no fear, but at the same time they see no obvious threat. Oh, so, say, Ember, this demon is wounded. Oh, you're right. How embarrassing. There, she heals him. Ember whispers a spell and the demon's wounds heal. So she's going to heal this babao on the ground, which is quite nice for the babao. And he says, screw you. I owe you nothing. As he jumps up and runs away. Poor demons. Of course you don't, Ember says. I helped you for no reason, just because I wanted to. I hope you will be all right. Ha! For no reason. You're stupid. No one does anything without a reason. She's a witch. Probably wants to sell us something. Some magic potions or herbs. Come on, show us. What do you have? What? No, I'm not selling anything. I just want to tell you how much you're missing. I mean, you're free. Freer than anyone in the world, but you use this freedom to make life miserable for yourself and everyone else. Just think how much happier you could be. Ember keeps preaching. The demons listen, occasionally interrupting with laughter and obscene jokes. Finally, they grow bored and walk away. They left. Do you think they understood anything? Oh, who knows how it will turn out. You know, I was thinking, I tried sending prayers to the demon lords, and I tried talking to demons in the street. But one of the demon lords lives right here in the city. Nocticula, right? What if I try to talk to her? Not through prayer, but in person. You're going to meet her sooner or later, aren't you? Please take me with you. I'm sure if we meet face to face, like you and I are talking right now, I'll be able to convince her to stop being so mean. You'll take me with you. Yeah, you'll be able to convince her. That always works. So anyway, that's the party. I'm just going around here, and there's some stairs that lead up here, looking for loot and things like that. But that's getting to the end of this episode, and the most painful part of that whole thing was the dimension door issue. So if you find yourself stuck in a situation where if you find yourself in that dimension door situation, I suggest creating a tightly clustered group and then trying to use it. And the reason I suggest that is because you would think it would be easy to just iterate in the code through the various members of the party and land them all in a spot. But obviously landing them somewhere also requires, spatially landing them. So evidently the actual physical location of the characters matters when the dimension door is trying to finish, and that caused Adrenair to get stuck. Maybe because we've got him so far out in the formation ahead of everybody else. Maybe that's why that worked that way. I have no particular expertise in that. I don't know, but at any rate, I brought us to the Battle Bliss. That's going to be the next episode. We're going to start dealing with this. This is the arena of the game, and this leads to one of your options for creating fame for yourself so that Nocticula will take notice of you and invite you to the upper city. There are several different ways to get to the upper city, and that's just one of them. So that's going to be the end of that. And that'll be the end of this episode. It has been a trial. You can see what the map looks like, and there's still a few pieces of loot hanging around there, but I don't think there are too many interesting pieces of loot. Lots of random stuff. So it's been fun. It was a little weird with the whole audio issue. With for some reason the microphone didn't record correctly on this one, and I had to do the voiceover afterwards. So folks, thanks for hanging out, and as always, if you dig it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you all next time. Happy gaming.